Yeah, we're going. We're
Okay.
live.
Woo!
Glasses are being cleaned.
Glass are being clean.
Yo, it's me, your boy, High Five Vega. It is Reverse Polarity episode 8. We're 8 shows in. Tonight, I'm joined by the man who never sleeps, the zip tie Xenon, the
Wow, 2 Z words in one. You get extra points.
the man who sells you tech flex by doing videos.
Wirecare is a big sponsor of the show. There's no question about it. They do love us a lot. Oh. So what's going on, man?
Yeah, man. I've been watching Kicker things.
I know, right? One more day.
Yeah.
One more day. You could do it.
Yeah. I had to run and pee real quick for the show. So I was like, oh no, the show's going to start.
I had to run
the whole time. Yeah.
You know, it was funny because last night because Monday we did our thing. Tuesday we did the whole watch party thing. You guys did your thing last night, which we were still at work till almost 10 o'clock last night because we were filming today's video, which was the KS speakers, and then tomorrow's video, which is we swapped Haley's 108.4 for a 200.4. We kind of go over the whole differences and stuff. And I talk about it like it's done, but it's not. I'm going to edit it when we're done with this. So it was like when I texted you guys, I'm like, hey, yeah. I'm still at work.
Still working, man.
I'm like, God, man. So
I watched the KS video. Dude, that video was great. Like, Kicker needs to pay you to do all their videos. That was a very, very good video. I just got to give you props on it.
Well, thanks. Because I was like, dude, we literally got done at 6:30 working, and we pulled the car out that was in the install. We pulled the F-150 out that was in the install bay, and it was like, go. And it was like, and literally Fernando's pulling the speakers out of the car so I could show you an A and B comparison between the two. It was so funny.
It was a sprint and a marathon.
So the only complaint I have about those speakers, the only complaint is the wired crossovers.
Yeah.
That kicked me in the butt because I had to solder them back in because the old ones were screw down. So I had to solder all those in, and I'm like, what really sucked is we're going to pull them all out because we're going to go active front on that. So I was like, but I got to put them in for the video. Oh, damn.
Yeah. Well, I was like that. I hate the wired crossovers.
Yeah.
But then I seen the size comparison. I was like, okay, maybe that is a decent excuse for that to happen.
Have you seen the Morel 3-way crossover?
Yes.
It's about a quarter of the size. So no.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think if we took the light bulbs out, we'd be okay.
Yeah. Those are necessity.
I guess. I don't know, but let me tell you what, those compared to the previous, it was like as soon as I turned those on, I was like, damn, wow. I mean, those are right up there with like T1 style components, like as far as how like the presence that those things have. Oh my gosh, yes. I mean, because T1 is a dome, so it's not T2. Slow it down, but the T1 brightness that those things they're right up there with like that. Like, hey, we're here to party, bro.
Yeah,
we're here to party. So
yeah.
All right. So what do we got today? Talk to me.
All right, man. So I have a poll put up, and I figured, it's never car audio, so let me share it here so you guys can check it out. I'll let you see it.
It's a good start.
Yeah. I'm gonna show you, not tell you.
Oh, good God.
The poll is, what TV show are you most excited for a new season of? Now, I just put some that I like, and then I put other, you tell me in the comments. So, leading right now with 32% is The Mandalorian, followed closely by other, which I'll read some of the comments. Next up is Stranger Things.
That's the winner in my book.
Yeah, and then Ozark is third. The Boys are last.
Yeah, which is where The Boys belong. Let's be honest. I really think you don't need too much of The Boys.
Yeah,
like 8 episodes was perfect.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, it's over. Oh, okay, cool.
It can be a little intense.
Yeah.
The dude has, The Witcher.
Oh, dude.
I didn't watch season 1. It's on the
Really?
list though.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Spoiler. It is not shot in chronological order.
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
They time jump throughout the whole thing, and you have to know that when you watch it, because you're going to be like, "What the hell is going on?" The story is about 3 people: the Witcher, the purple-eyed witch, and the little girl. Okay. They do this throughout the whole thing until the very end. So it is like you're like 100 years, you're like 1,000 years, because they're all live forever, it seems like. But
Yeah.
you just have to know that they're just kind of all leading up to the end of the show. But the time is
fluid, like Westworld, like the first season of Westworld.
Never saw that, but if it started at the end and then you went to the middle and then back to the beginning and then forward, and once you figure that out, then the season is like, oh, this is freaking cool.
It's on the list. I'm watching now. What's it called? The Lovecraft Country.
Oh, you got HBO Max.
Yes, I'm digging that. I just finished The Watchmen. I liked that. And next we're gonna watch Ted Lasso.
That's the Plus show. Dude, that is freaking hilarious.
It looked like it was funny.
Haley goes, "You should watch this." And I watched that. I told everyone I know. I was like, "Dude, you got to watch this." Rick and Morty. I mean, hell yeah.
I should have. I can't believe I forgot that. I haven't watched the current season, so I need to get on that.
I want to watch Picard, but I don't want to pay to watch it. It's like, it's funny because it's like, if all these paid service just nickel and dime the shit out of us. I mean, we
if you wait long enough, Netflix will pick it up. That's what I do. Like these little special shows, just like Cobra Kai. I didn't even add Cobra Kai to the list. That's one I'm looking forward to as well.
Well, Sue told me today that Animaniacs is coming to Hulu with all new episodes.
Oh, new episodes?
Yeah.
I could sing this song right now.
I just like Pinky and the Brain. I'm a big Pinky and the Brain fan. I think I have the whole like years of on DVD.
Yeah. So what headphones are you wearing today? Let's get back to audio.
So these are actually headphone number 1. These are my original Sennheisers PXC 450s. These are the OGs. These are what got me into headphones many years ago. These are Bluetooth noise canceling headphones, and they were awesome. I don't use them much anymore, and I just replaced the pads. These actually sit out on my desktop as that's their permanent home. But these were the OGs. These were the first. Like, how much did you spend on headphones for me?
Yeah.
Wow. You're so nice.
Those Sennheisers are like an entry point for a lot of people. The HT80s or the 280s or.
Oh, that reminds me. I know which one I'm going to wear next week. Ooh.
Oh, you got an idea? Well, I got an audio shirt on today.
Oh yeah, High Five Vega.
Yeah, it's your boy High Five Vega.
I got my Sennheiser shirt on because of my headphones.
Double represent.
Yeah. I was really excited because a friend of ours does, a friend of mine, or Haley's coach, soccer coach. He does professional audio for a living. And so he's like, "Hey man, I know you're big into Sennheiser. I got your shirt." And I was like, oh,
"That's awesome.
That means so much." I mean, I get free shirts all the time, but this one,
I got
dope.
one. Look at this, man.
Oh shit, you got it.
Yeah, man.
I don't even have one of those. Does it fit?
Dude. Yeah, perfect. I'm gonna be sporting this thing, man.
Dude, I ordered everybody's but mine.
That's how it goes, man.
I was like, Fernando was like, "Dude, we're not gonna get those." I was like, "Yeah, we'll get them."
At some point.
Some point.
So today, overrated, underrated again. I didn't have a lot of time to prepare a good time.
No, that's okay.
This is kind of kicker week. So we're talking about kicker. I've got some kicker items on the list, and they might be controversial. So kicker, if you're watching,
deal with it.
Yeah, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. So the very first thing, overrated, underrated, or appropriately rated.
Okay.
If you guys don't remember the rules, I'm going to say a topic. Dean will say what he thinks it is, appropriately rated, overrated, underrated. I'll do the same. So the very first thing, square subs.
Ooh. I think they're underrated, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I actually agree with that.
Yeah. I think a lot of people think it's a gimmick.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are stupid too, but that's just me.
Well, it's kind of the old way, the cone area kind of rules all. Nowadays they make up for it with excursion and motor force.
You mean
But
spare tires around the
yeah,
outside?
but if you have the cone area, excursion, and the motor force,
Yeah.
you're doing something.
Oh, that's like a triple threat. Stand back. Woo!
Yeah. Yeah, the 15 cone area is close to an 18 on the square 15 on the L715. So
You know, it was funny when I got to interview Steve Irby. That, of course, was like, you're going to ask him the square round question, right? And I was like, I really wasn't planning on it because
yeah,
I feel like everyone has asked him that question. But if he finds a way to throw it in there, then, we'll talk about it. But it wasn't on my list to talk to him about because it was like, I felt at
yeah,
this point we've pretty much hammered this out. But then again, I always forget that there's always new people. And if you don't go back and tell the story again, then the new people just kind of don't get it, and then they form their own opinions, and then it's usually wrong. So he did find a way to finagle it in there, and I think I ended up asking him, so what's so great about square woofers?
yeah.
And it was like I just remember their ad where they had a square and they had a circle in the side and they shaded in all the areas, and like, you're missing this. It was like, all right, you win.
Well, that's the best. That's my favorite thing about 5-star videos is you don't always assume everyone knows every inside joke you've been doing for the past 10 years.
Well, no, and like like I'll quote it again. Stan Lee is the guy who's like, you need 20 good stories that you can just tell for the rest of your life, and because you meet new people all the time. I mean, you know how it is on YouTube. It's like the guys that start watching your show, that started watching your show 4 or 5 years ago. Yeah, they might still be watching it, but you're getting thousands and thousands of people every month that are subscribing, new subscribers to your channel.
Yeah.
And so they don't understand, like, there's still people that think I own 5-star, and it's like, we've told that story dozens and dozens of times, but it's like, you just tell it again, because it's like, if the story's good, then people will sit back and go, oh, he's telling that story again. It's that one. Shut up. All right, tell us the story.
Yeah, that old Jim. That old Jim.
And like when Steve tells the story between square and round, you're like, shut up. I want to hear this. You've heard it 1,000 times. Yes, I know. I'm going to hear it 1,001. Leave the room.
Yeah, no. And that's 100% true. Like, I could listen to whatever Steve's saying 100 times anyways. The dude, he is a cool guy.
Dude, he's an enigma because, like, when I went to interview him, of course, I had to pre-interview him in the sense, like, I wanted to know everything I was going to ask him, so I knew what to ask him. And, like, trying to find details about him were so hard because no one had interviewed him. There was, like, one church group, religious channel that had, because he's big into that, that had interviewed him. And it was like, it was a great interview. And I was like, oh, thank God I found this, literally. Because they touched on everything that I needed to know to go in and interview him. And it was like, yeah. So,
yeah.
I will say, when I had a kid with a Wrangler come in wanted a Solo X18.
Oh.
It was the only Solo X18 I got to play with. And of course, I was like, yeah, sure, why not? Yeah, we could do that. Whatever you like. Yeah. And it was the whole back of the Jeep. I have a picture.
That's what I was going to ask. It's like it took every single inch of the Jeep in the back.
Yeah, but the back seat still went in. Oh, dude, I was good.
Oh,
man.
You're a pro, man.
I am a pro. I've built so many boxes. You got to remember, for 21 years, I built boxes.
Wait,
so
in a few years, I'm going to buy a new car, and I think
I'm not building you a box.
No. I think I'm just going to bring it down there and be like, Dean, here's $5,000. Put the Dean system in. What Dean would put with $5,000 in here? Just do it and see what you come up with.
How about if I just call and tell you?
Yeah. No, because I don't want to put it in.
I don't know if I still want to do it in 5 years.
I know, man.
I mean, jeez. All right. So, there it is. Shoot. Okay, let's see.
Oh,
Uh,
let's solo you. Hold up.
that's it right there.
Jeez, dude, that's serious.
So there's the battery. That's oh shit. That's
He can see out the window.
Yeah. All right. Hold
Out
on.
the rear view.
This is the crap. I know I suck at this. That says kicker.
Wow.
But that's what it looks like from inside the Jeep, and there's loudspeakers to the left and right of it. But yeah, that was jeez, that was the 18.
Did you have to reinforce the mounts on that? On the top?
What are you talking about? Reinforce the mounts, man.
It just let it rattle.
It was a cloth top. I mean, it was the dumbest thing ever, but whatever. Yeah.
All right. Number 2. This is kicker related as well. Stitch surrounds.
Oh God. With or without talc in the surround?
Without.
Okay. All right. I like the stitched surround. Overrated, underrated, or it's probably overrated.
Man, why do you keep agreeing with me?
Because let's be honest, man. We look at all the speakers out there that are just glued or form fitted or heat epoxied or whatever the hell it is, and I mean, honestly, it's like when you look at the Q class with the blue, and you just go, "Oh,
it is." That's what I. So I would say underrated aesthetically, overrated mechanically.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I agree.
And I think even Kip said that because the glues are good enough. At some point, he said the glues weren't good enough when they first started. So they put in a little extra thing. But then now, it's like they're good enough.
Let's be honest. Some of those subs weren't good enough. The stitching wasn't going to help. I'm talking, back in the 90s, some of those woofers were just like, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, they're amazing. They do this. What world do they do that? I was not a kicker dealer back then. So
150 dB sensitivity, man.
Yeah, in a small sealed box.
Yeah.
I'll build your small sealed box and I will put something else in that when I am done because this sounds like Dookie.
All right, we're going this one. Oh man. I don't know how you feel about this one, but ribbed cones. I'm gonna let you go first.
They're not for my pleasure. I'll tell you that right. So are we talking about these the
ones on the inside of the cone?
The wheels, spoke
shit.
Okay. Okay. So I hate them. I underrated, overrated. I don't like them, but I don't.
Yeah.
I think. See, that's the thing. I feel more and more companies are going away from that.
Yeah.
Just because it was fun in the 90s and the 2000s, but now it's like it's still there, and it's like, why?
And it fits that like guys that had barbed wire tattoos.
Yeah.
That aesthetic.
Yes. Yeah. I don't like it.
That's what I told Kip. It's like kind of when they had that whole motif, that design language, it was kind of the dark days for kicker design to me, personally.
Well, I was looking like the new KS speaker has that mesh grill. And even Morel has gone to the new mesh grill. Yeah. And it's like, which they all had back then. Like we all had mesh grills, just like we all had spandex, and then it was gone, and then it came back, and now it's not going away. Whatever. I feel like the spoked crawl grill cover. Remember the movie Crawl?
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like that all just needs to disappear. Like when he showed that today, sorry to spoil that. I was like, why? Why? Please stop making this grill. I'm not a fan of it. I don't like it. It's to me, it's cheap. People like full protection.
Yeah.
Got ribbed in full protection. What a topic.
Oh, we're dipping into it tonight.
I mean, man. I'm not a fan. Yeah. I don't like it. I get it. It's more rigid. It does all these things, but you look at like the IQ class 12 and what they've done with that cone.
How they sink it in with the rib.
Yeah,
that's much better.
That's an elegant looking cone, and it's like, wow, that looks really, really nice. And even though I hate the comp CVT, I hate that woofer. It's
Yeah.
But I like the cone. The cone was like, ooh, this is a nice, this is out of the box for them.
Yeah.
Too bad it sounded like crap. And I know that they just look at me every time. Sorry. It's like
that. I think the ribbing in the cone is definitely overrated. I know that it does serve a purpose.
Yeah.
I do not like. There's one subwoofer that I like the look of it on, and it was the Solo Classic. I thought it looked okay on that. The round Solo Classic.
Okay.
That was probably the best of the bunch outside of like the Q class, like you said, where it's kind of muted like that. I like it like that. It looks a lot better.
I just feel like they need to move on past that. In some regards, they are, but in other regards, they're not.
Well, that leads me right into the next rib thing the kicker does. The surrounds. What do you think about the rib surrounds?
I like that. Okay, that doesn't bother me as much. I like that. I like it because it's uniquely kicker. You know, like Alpine has their funky surround that's like the thing. You know, and for a while there, like Image Dynamic, when they came out with the IDQ, they had the, you know, the funky, so you could have a 12-inch cone on a 12-inch woofer. You know, they had their whole thing was that the surround moved like this instead of like this, which is what a conventional spare tire surround does. Is it doesn't it whereas theirs, think of when they were explaining it to us back before the woofer existed and when they actually were relevant in car audio. They said, you know, the guy that was designing it, he was sitting on a toilet looking at a towel in front of him, thinking of subwoofers, and he took the towel and he went like this over the towel bar, and he goes, "Why don't surrounds move like that?" So then he invested the time to come up with it, and it turned out to be like an amazing woofer, and it still is to this day one of the benchmark, like crazy ass, like esoteric bad boy woofers. But when you look at a kicker and you see that it's like, especially on a square woofer where they really accentuated in the corners, it's like, yeah, that looks so cool. As far as overrated, underrated, it's underrated.
Underrated? I would go appropriately rated.
Okay, yeah. Okay, I agree.
I think it's appropriately rated. Yeah, that's the third option if you don't want to commit.
Okay, well, I forgot about that one.
Yeah, but I think like Digital Designs, they come out with their ESP. Have you seen those?
No.
That are ribbed all the way around. So they've got some subwoofers are doing it. So
aren't they the guys in Oklahoma too?
Yeah, they're in Oklahoma City.
So, okay.
There's ribs in Oklahoma.
Apparently, oh God, dude. Why did you go there? There's so much beef in Oklahoma. Oh my gosh, dude. I'm like, do you guys got any chicken? And they're just like,
yeah.
Where are you from, boy?
Yeah. Why do you like chicken? Who wants chicken?
You from the north? I mean, originally, yeah, but no. I'm further south than you, kind of. Not really.
Yeah, man. So this is another thing, and this is something that I have told Kicker about their amps that I don't like. But it's not a huge deal, but it is a frustration for a guy like me to test amps. Angled power and ground inputs. I'm not just Kicker amps, but all amps. What do you think about them?
Hold that thought. Let me get my beer. Battle Axe War actually has the IDQ-10, and he's like, he loves it. I'm like, yeah, definitely. That unfortunately, we were a huge Image Dynamic dealer, and then they decided to invest all this money in this EQ that never came to anything. And at that point, we moved from them to Diamond, back when Diamond was Diamond and not what it is now. And so it was sad because that woofer never really came in. And then we had several on back order. So when they finally did show up, it was like they were gone and we never got to do anything with them. And now they're owned by Powerbase. And of course, there's two guys that make those woofers all by hand. And it's one guy and his helper. And that's all they do. That's like they sit there and his job is he wakes up, time to make the IDQs, goes home. That's all he does. And it's like, to me, that's like, wow, you can actually do that and make money? Yeah. That's phenomenal. You know,
I
so
guess so.
if anybody wants to own a piece of car audio history that's you can still buy now, definitely pick up an IDQ. I will send them my bill for that endorsement. Okay, angled freaking
Yes.
inputs.
Yes.
Oh my god! If you
They're not clean wire friendly.
they
They're like,
suck ass. Like, so all the R2 Rockford stuff, all the primes have always had it. Okay, primes have it on theirs. And it's like, fuck, you just remodeled the amplifiers and you kept this part of it. What are you guys, fucking idiots?
no.
Sorry, Rockford, I hate it, and they know I do. The Pioneer amplifiers have them. Sucks. The Audison Prima amplifiers were supposed to have them. Thank God this gentleman named Larry Penn that owns Mobile Solutions Calgary, or MSC, which is now MSC, for those of you guys that are in the know, is the same company that reps BAM and Helix. So he's MSC stands for Mobile Solutions Calgary. So his company is now the American distributor for those lines. But at the time, he was a consultant for Audison. And when those amplifiers came out and they had those, he goes, no. And so the first prototypes had those, and then they fixed them because they actually listened to them and changed them. Yeah. Thank God, because I'm not paying $1,000 for an amplifier that has these shitty terminals on them. I can almost accept it on a cheap amplifier. Like, I'm sorry, cheap, I mean inexpensive, on like a Prime or a Pioneer. But I freaking, and dude, so some idiot, and if he's here, I'm sorry. He goes, because I was bitching about him in a video and how we have to raise the amplifier so that we can have them come out and go flat. And he goes, dude, that's so you can drill a hole and run them through a flush hole. And I'm like,
nobody does that anymore.
I'm like, dude, no, it's not, because if you're mounting it to something like the back wall of a car or a box, how are you going to do that, genius? Shut up.
And why does it? Surely it's not cheaper to have that angle than it is just a square one. There's no way that it's any cheaper. It probably costs more to do it like that.
You would think. You would think. The funny thing on the kicker amps that I mean, most of those are gone in the kicker amp, but what I find funny is where you'll have spade terminals and holes.
Yes, the combination of the two.
And you're like,
I don't like this.
Pick one. Because like today we were doing one of the yellows. We were doing the yellow 1200, I think. Yeah, and so the power is all holes. Yeah. They're right. They're at 90s, but then the speakers are all fork terminals. And I'm like, and Fernando's over there, and I'm just prepping the wires, like putting the shrink tube on them and soldering on the connectors and getting everything all prepped and ready to go. And I looked at Fernando and said, is it the power or the wires that have the fork terminals? I can't remember. And he's like, the wires, the fork terminals. I was like, okay. Because it's like, don't mix media. Kenwood, Exelon amplifiers, 901.5, it's all holes. 801.5 is all forks. Fine. I'm cool with that. It's like, whatever. If you give me one of everything or one specific thing, I can just magically do. Mix and match.
Another side jag small annoyance on is not having all the same Allen keys sizes. Like, please, man, just make them all the same size. Kicker does do that, thankfully, but
a lot of companies are changing to that. And I like Allen keys. Audio Control uses screws.
Yeah.
And I'm like, stop using screws.
I know. I'm the same way. They came out so easy when you're
so
trying to
I'm like,
yeah. Especially with wire ferrules on the big gauge sizes.
I've said to Chris a dozen times, like, can we get some Allen screws? I mean,
yeah. You should keep them in stock and just switch them out yourself.
Oh yeah, because that's what I want to do. Like, give more stuff away in my install.
Just a little line on there. Like, you got to be able to use the T handle, man. You're gonna have to get you a T handle.
I have. Yeah. But and that's okay. Here's another thing: if you are gonna make an Allen wrench that is a T, put the freaking do the Allen head on one
on
and
the
then
side.
yeah, why would you not? Like I was,
Yeah.
because I'm always looking for a better set of Allen heads. It's like I'm not
These,
buying. Yes, I have those.
these are the good ones.
Yeah, because they're $5.
Yeah.
And you don't feel bad when you strip one out. You go, I'll just go buy a whole new set for $10. But it's like I always wanted an awesome set of those, with the exception of spending. And then again, I have nothing against Snap-on, but with the exception of spending Snap-on money for them, because to me that's just like I just lost a $50 Allen wrench. So
I've twisted one of those, one of these cheap ones.
Yeah,
I've literally torqued so hard.
Oh yeah, no, all mine are spiraled.
Yeah,
all mine are spiraled. Yeah, duh.
Yeah, but hey, it's like $10, so who cares?
So Fernando's set over on his desk is like they're all different colors because they're all like the 6 sets I had left over, and I was like, listen, before I go out and buy you a whole nother set, why don't you just go through all these and see if you can make a set? And he's like, okay, so it's like, yeah.
Do you ever? All right, this is another side. Let's just get into the side jags. Do you ever like twist one or bend one, and you're like, shit, and then you just go to Fernando's tool and switch it out with the broken one and get his good one?
No.
Oh man, I would do it. I would do it if I were.
I buy all the tools. Why would I do that?
I guess so. Yeah, but to make it through the day, when he grabs it, he's like, "What? What?" Because they're basically the same tools.
I mean, so funny thing, when we did the tools, last week, I left all the tools here. So I got to work and I was like, I left all my tools at home. I was like, God damn it. And most of those I have duplicates of, but it's like, it was like, like I don't have 2 die grinders because why would I have an air die grinder and the battery powered one, but it was like, oh man, I have 2 Aussie irons, but it was still like, the one I usually grab, I just grabbed all that crap. So it was like, I gotta go look for tools. Let me borrow your Aussie iron. Give me your heat gun. Damn it.
Yeah. It's your fault, Fernando, that I took all this stuff and I didn't remember to bring it back.
Yeah, exactly. The hell.
All right. Next up, shallow mount subwoofers.
Okay. So I think, all right. So I feel like people think they can do more than they can.
Yeah.
So what would that be? Underrated, overrated?
Yeah, maybe overrated.
Yeah, so I would go with they're overrated in the sense that I feel like people think they're more of a miracle than they could possibly be. And I think that's the problem with those. The Comp RT, in my mind, is one of the best, most affordable shallow mount subs ever created. It sounds great. It handles a good amount of power. It works in almost any enclosure, and it gives you bass, like good bass. Yeah. But the minute you put it up against, so if you do 212s, like we just did 212s in F-150 tonight, it sounded phenomenal. Like, because he went from like one JL12 to those 212s, and it was like in a ported box, and it was like, wow. And I was like, I know, right? It's incredible. But if I were to put like a ported box with 2 regular 12s, just some white comps back there, he'd be like, wow, these sound better. It's like, yeah, I know, because you have air and cone and mass and magnet.
And your speaker can move much farther. I think so too. I don't really know how to rate them, but like the JL Audio TW series is really nice for a shallow mount sub. I haven't got to use the Kicker L7Ts. I know you've played with them a lot.
Yeah, Haley's got it in her car.
Yeah, and there's another thin mount one that's supposed to be pretty good, but I cannot.
Oh shoot, the Arc makes their thin mount.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, we got one of those. Oh my gosh, dude, that's one of those woofers. It's like, what's neat about that is the magnet is on the other side. So the magnet, it's kind of like one of those old Bose style. And so he's like, it's got its own leg built into it. So it's like, it's got to be this far off the ground.
That's why. Have you messed with the Illusion audio subs?
Ooh.
Now those aren't big bass, but those sound. No. Those are some of the best sounding subs I've ever heard. Probably.
So Jeff Smith was a huge Illusion audio fan for many years, and so I got to hear some of his. And of course, Nick Wingate from Orca, which is Focal. They are, so Orca is Illusion Audio. So they own Illusion Audio, but they distribute also Focal as well as Moscone Gladen, Raven subwoofers, and Black Hole sound deadening. I think that's it. I'm not sure. Anyways, so the Illusion is out of India.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, Illusion is out of India because the owner of Orca, I believe, is Indian, something like that, or somewhere in that area of the world. But and you know, I had never heard the 3.5, and so you know, they really, their biampable 3.5 in tweeter was just like, holy shit.
Yeah, that's the one that's the coincidental style coax. Oh man, that's
it's like $400 or something.
Yeah,
like
that thing's freaking awesome though. It's in my mind, it's worth the money for sure.
Well, I mean, so Nick Wingate, when he won 2 years ago, when he won the championships, he had those 3.5s in the dash of his Chevy. He had a set of Focal Flax mid bass in the door and one 12-inch Raven subwoofer with all aerospace and Moscone amplifiers, and that's what he won with, all in factory locations. You know, it's like, okay, you know.
That's one of those, you know, the mandatory SQ thing is you have to have Moscone amps. Have you been to a competition in a while?
Yeah, down here, believe it or not, down here the competition scene is a lot of ARC.
Yeah,
there's
you just
lots of ARCs, and of course Brian, who works for ARC, it was the Cadillac. He's like the winniest guy there is. I mean, it's like, you know, oh my god! And what he's working on now is like so stupid.
Well, I will say that, like, I've had a Moscone. I haven't had the Class A, but I've had the Class AB, and it's a very good sounding amp.
Oh yeah, I mean,
I can't argue against it.
You know, it's like when I look at like the line of amplifier. What was it? Oh yeah, shallow woofers. When I look at like amplifiers that I'd like to own, just to own, it's like one of the big Moscone amplifiers is kind of like, yeah, I'd really like one of those big.
And then I go, channel ones.
Whatever, 2-channel, 4-channel. I don't really give it. You know, so it's big. You know.
Yeah.
And it's like, I really want to own one of those, and I'd be like, well, what for? What am I going to do with it? Yeah. It's just like, you know, it's like a Voce 5.1K. It's like, I really want to own one of those. And I'm like, what for? What am I going to do with it?
I do that all the time. There's like, I see something shiny and my eyes are like, my heart, I want this. I'm never going to use this. I want this, but I'm never going to use it.
Yeah. You know, and it's like every day, you know, the stack of car audio stuff, like when we're doing the live show that I walk over and grab to do show and tell with, as I call it, every day Paul comes over and he's like, can I have this? And I'm like, no. He goes, I'll give you a new one. I'm like, no. He goes, well, I need it. I'm like, no. What do you need? You know, when are you going to sell this? I'm not selling. It's like we have this argument all the time. Like I've had it so many times. Like it's the same discussion as we had a week ago. These are props for when we do videos. So that I'm like, dude, literally the manufacturers give us this so we can talk about their stuff when people ask. It's like,
yeah,
you know,
just put a sheet over it and write show and tell on it.
You know, dude, on the bottom of all the amplifiers, it literally says not for resale, property of, and you know, Smash Force Productions / 5-Star Car Stereo. It's like, look, I've lasered all the bottom. I don't care.
Yeah. That's you can sell for a little bit more with that.
Probably, but I'm not going to. But that's the thing. It's like they're props so that we can explain what we're talking about better, because we found that, you know, when we were just, you know, trying to make people visualize these things, it was like wasn't going very well. And then, you know, out of the blue, it was like, grab that and show it. And it was like everyone was all of a sudden it clicked, and it was like, oh hell, you know, we need props. You know, we need stuff to talk about. So it's like, that's why it's like when people ask the passive crossover question, we just walk back there and grab a passive crossover. There's a half dozen of them just sitting there that we can show. And when people talk about loose power wires, we have the amplifier with the melted end. It's like all that stuff is there so that we can talk about it.
Yeah, and you're uniquely set up to do that because you've got multiple camera angles and you've got a table so you can move around. So it's like it's the perfect setup.
Yeah, I mean, and that's where we've, you know, this, as the show grew, that was where we were headed, so that we could do and answer better questions, you know, because to me, it's all about just, if you're going to take the time to watch us talking like everyone is here, and I'm just rambling on, At least I could do is give you the best answer possible.
Yeah,
Okay.
for sure. I mean, that leads us right into our next question. We started with shallow subwoofers, went to amplifiers. So the next one is SQ capacitors in sound quality amps, like Nishikon Golds.
Yeah. So, did you ever watch? So Tony D'Amore on somebody, I'm guessing it was on Steve Mead's forum or something like that, did a whole thing on how he built the giant amps that Steve's using.
Yeah.
First, he built the home audio to prove the concept, and then he turned it over into the car audio, and then he built one board backwards, and so he had to start over from scratch. And he talked about how he needed all the best components for this, that, and the other, and I was watching it, and he was like, it's all the best of the best with honors. Thank you. And, so those amps are what, 10 grand or something silly like that, or 5 grand.
Very expensive.
Yeah. Way out of reality for most people. So, you look at him who knows all this stuff, and this is what he's chosen to do it. And then you look at somebody like a XYZ brand, and then they'll say audio grade components. Oh, yeah. And we're just supposed to be like, and then you see the price point, $400, and you're like, wait a minute, there's a zero missing here, and a decimal point that needs to be moved the other way. How So I think they're drastically like promoted overly, like they're more, this is audio grade. Yeah. No, it's not. It's bullshit. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're audio grade when you compare them to the pile of crap they were using before. But
now they've got fake Nishikon caps going around the world, so. But I will say, I don't know, because if I'm given the option, say I'm getting an old school amp recapped,
right?
And the guy tells me, he's like, do you want me to use the Nishikons, or do you want me to use whatever it may be, Panasonic or whatever?
Yeah.
I'm always like, well, on the audio output section, yeah, sure. I'm always going to choose that, even though I don't know if I'm doing the right decision.
Right.
Because it's in my brain. Like, sometimes I think that if it says SQ or it's known SQ, right, then my mind's just, I'm going to hear it whether I actually hear it or not.
Of course. Yeah, it's the placebo thing. Yeah. So I was talking with an engineer friend of mine, and he was talking about, one of the build houses that they use. Here is big woo build house. Yeah. So if you're a company that designs products, you go to some place that can manufacture said products, and then use, you know what capacitors you want, everything. All they have to do is get all the product together, build it, and then give it to you. They have done nothing other than build it. Yeah. And then some build houses will build their own products that you can then go, I want this heatsink, I want those output devices, I want these Tiffany style connectors, as Derek loves to say. And you can do that. And so this company went to them, and they weren't building shit. They were just like, they were shopping. Yeah. And so they offered Burr Brown DA converters for this specific product that they were buying. This company was buying, not his. And they were like, all right, well, whatever, just put Burr Brown DA converters in it. And they're like, okay, well, do you want us to actually redesign it so that those do what they're supposed to do? And he's like, no, just build it. He goes, well, it's actually going to get worse performance out of the product by putting these in there, because they're designed to work with these components, not those. So it's actually going to sound worse. And they go, we don't give a shit. We want to be able to write this on the box, because people will buy it because it says Burr Brown DA converter on it, and it's not in Mitsubishi Hutu, Burr Brown or DA converter. And so here's a case of somebody putting a named brand product inside of something where it actually was less beneficial. It made the product sound worse than just leaving it alone and using the known name brand that it was designed to be with. So, if it's a soup to nuts deal where you're just, then yeah, it totally makes sense. But if you're just doing it to do it, then I mean,
if it's marketing,
yeah.
then, yeah.
I mean, if you need a 2-inch drywall screw and you think a 3-inch drywall screw would be better, whatever works for you.
That's true.
Yeah.
Which leads us into what I want to finish on. Brand name power wire versus welding cable.
Oh, come on. Seriously, bro?
Yeah, let's.
All right. You know, as an industry professional and somebody that does this and has paid for my livelihood for the last 30 years, I'm not a welding cable guy. All right. I am not I foolishly waste my money on buying named brand wire from name brand companies. And that's the reality of it. I mean, welding cable is called welding cable for a reason. It is not called automotive grade cable. It's not. It's copper. It's rubber around it. It's by no means made to be put inside of a vehicle. Can you do it? Of course you can do it. You can do anything you want. You know, there's a bridge, jump off it. Flap your arms real hard, maybe you can fly. But, you know, everyone is always looking for the next cheapest thing. You know, it's like they spend so much time trying to find the cheapest way to do something. And it's like, why? I get it. Don't get me wrong. I totally get it. I totally understand. But sometimes you need toilet paper that says Charmin on it so your butt don't bleed. Just saying. You know,
I actually agree with you 100% on this, surprisingly. But I think it's severely underrated because, like, I'll do the comparison showing people how much copper you're getting per dollar, you know. And of course, welding wire is going to come out on top on that. But if you're running a straight power run with a welding wire, fine. But as soon as you need to bend it to do anything, that's where the trouble comes in. And there's cardio companies that have jackets that they're just welding wire.
Oh, yeah.
GP, that's welding wire.
Oh, yeah.
And I can't think of the other one, but there's other ones that are less flexible that are, you know, I've got some that I just try to use for a ground and it was too inflexible. So, yeah, man, car audio wire is severely underrated from the main brand companies versus, you know, just straight up welding cable.
Well, you know, it's funny because like I'm friends with a lot of the guys that this is what they do. So it's like, you know, their job at these manufacturers is wire and only wire. You know, we've had John Catalano on our show that one of his previous jobs at AMP was Stinger RCAs. He was responsible for the current lineup of RCAs. That was his project before he went on to his next project. So it's like, you know, he is knee deep or balls deep, as you say, into all the facets of what it takes to make an RCA. That's why it's like, hey, you want to come on the show and talk about RCAs? And he talked about everything that he could possibly think of and the importance of this. And, you know, it's like when you look at a 9000 series RCA cable, it's essentially 6 RCA cables in one.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, but there again, you know, but someone will be like, okay, so your signal, signal. Yeah. And I had a guy last week ask me about how do I convert this radio so I can have a Toshlink out? It's like, you're missing the point. It's not how it works.
That's not. Have you seen the commercial with the old lady with the Facebook wall?
Oh,
that's not how I unfriend you. That's not how this works. That's not how any of this works.
It's like I want that button just to play it. That's not how any of this works. It's like we get so wrapped up in this like the stupidest things that like everyone wants a Toshlink output. Why? Yes, it would be cool. Don't get me wrong. If everyone had a DSP that was $1,000 and had a badass DA converter built into it, and they had radios that had crappy DA converters in it, then you bet your ass I want a Toshlink output. But people don't. You know, people have a Dayton DSP with a Toshlink. I would never use that Toshlink input on that piece of shit. I mean, are you kidding me? I mean, your $79 radio probably has a better DA converter built into it for the CD player than that thing has. I mean, come on. It's like, but everyone gets kind of wrapped up into this whole little thing, and we're all guilty of it at one point or another. It's like, ooh, it's the new toy, yay! I don't know, but wire.
Well, that when the new thing, like it's a new thing, it's like whatever it's the flavor of the weekend. I've got a Vegas story from back when I was like 16. So
Ooh, tell story.
I have all my system hooked up, 4-gauge wire all throughout. Back then, CCA wasn't a thing, so I didn't convert until the later years. But I was like, man, someone told me you need some 1/0 wire, and I was like, yeah, man, I need 1/0 wire. I'm not getting all my power, so
I'm not getting all my DBs.
Yeah, I'm missing some DBs somewhere. So I go up, I was like, yeah, man, I need some 1/0 wire, and they're like, all right, it's like $5 a foot. I was like, that's not gonna work, man. I can't pay the whole way. I was like, how about this? That first 3 foot before the fuse, I can do that. That's only $15. So I tell him I need 3 foot, and then I put it in, and I come back up, and the installer comes out, and he's like, what are you doing? Like, what do you mean I'm doing? I'm upgrading this wire. He's like, 1 piece at a time? I said, well, I didn't have enough to do the whole thing. He said, why'd you upgrade it at all? He's like, you got a 400-watt amp. He's like, you're fine, buddy. You don't need to be with the rest of these guys.
I know. I mean, so someone said circuit breakers were fuse holders, and I'm sure if they don't know my stance on that, then because that's a softball. I hate circuit breakers.
Yeah, me too.
Circuit breakers are useless. Circuit breakers are great if they're on a boat and you need to be able to start the boat when something happens, and it's like, maybe if I trip this back, my boat will start. But other than that, there's absolutely no reason for a circuit breaker. If the fuse blows, something is wrong. You need to figure out what is wrong before you throw another fuse in there. If it pops a circuit breaker, for one, circuit breakers suck depending on the type of circuit breaker you have, and they don't last as long because
once they trip a few times, they're done.
Yeah, and it's like, no, but I had a bad experience years ago with a customer that said that he flicked his cigarette out the window and it flew in because the cutlass, with the windows that were 5 feet long. Yeah. He flicked his cigarette out the window and he didn't smoke, according to what he told his dad. And so he burned a big hole in the back of the seat, which caught the car on fire. And the fire department came out, saw our power wire running behind the seat, and said that's what caused the fire. And I'm like, it has a circuit breaker. It would have not done that. I mean, it was just literally the one area where the seat caught on fire. And I go, it was a cigarette, bro. My son doesn't smoke. He sat at the install bay and smoked all day. We know he smoked. Well, no, the insurance company. All right, what's the car worth? $2,500. We're out.
Yeah.
It's not even worth the conversation we're having. But ever since that day, back in 1992, I have never installed another circuit breaker, because if there was a fuse there, that fuse would have blown, and I could have easily because it was like a 20 amp circuit breaker, for God's sakes. I mean, you kidding me? You could literally sneeze on it and it would pop. But because there was a breaker and not a fuse, that was the end of it.
So they got their money from the insurance.
Yeah, and then fast forward. Remember when the Explorers were catching on fire because of the cruise control? So yeah, that was a brilliant thing. So somebody else came to us and tried to blame us for their Ford Explorer burning to the ground, and I was like, "How's that even possible? There's a fuse on there." No. So I had to go out there with all the insurance adjusters and all these goofballs. And literally right there is where it's on fire. And I go, dude, this is a Ford Explorer, guys. I mean, this caught on fire because, am I the only one watching the news? Like, and they're like, well, I said, I don't see the flag. I don't see the jumper. There's no jumper here. So he never got this updated. And they're like, well, look at your power wire here. And I was like, yeah, it's perfectly fine inside the car. From the firewall back, there is no damage whatsoever. So, well, we don't see a fuse. I go, pfft. So I start pulling shit out, and I go, it's right here. And they go, oh, it's got a fuse. well, the fire started after the fuse, so it couldn't be I was like, thank you. Have a nice day. I'm out. Bye.
Never come back.
No, it was like, you guys suck. You know, so I always blame the car audio guy.
Yeah, because you're obviously a simpleton because you install car audios.
Yeah, car audios. Yeah, good call. El Fuego. We're gonna put some neons with the car audios.
Yeah, man, that's how you got to do it. Put an S. I seen a meme today where a guy was putting the S on everything and marking it out like the Walmarts. He's like, yeah, don't kill me. I'm just a messenger.
The ons, got to turns it ons.
Yeah. This vehicle is in good conditions.
Shrimps. Can I get some shrimps? I want some shrimps. Fernando was saying that the other. I love shrimps. I'm like, it's one shrimp, two shrimp, green shrimp. You know, it's all just shrimp, man. It's a plural already. You don't have to put the S on it.
You can't help it. It's in the blood, man. I'm only half Mexican, and I do it all the time.
And I'm like, but it's one of those. I mean, trust me. He says all kinds of fun stuff, and I'm there to be like, okay, this is how you should say this, because it's like, to me, I'm not ever going to learn Spanish, but he's taught himself English, and he does it in it's like, you're way better at this than I could ever be at Spanish. But sometimes I'll be like, okay, this is actually how you say this, and he'll be like, oh, okay, cool, and then he'll just, his retention is amazing. So it's like, I mean, hell, I can't even remember half the time. He's over there like, oh, okay, shut up, perfect English guy. Damn it.
Yeah, man. I couldn't learn Spanish. That is such a that's an undertaking.
So speaking of dealing with shit, I should have filmed this to make a 911, but I really felt bad for the guy, and plus we were up against the clock as always. Guy comes in with a 2017 F-150 to have us redo the whole thing. He was buying all new stuff. Just take out what I got, put all new shit in. And all it had was a JL shallow mount woofer. That sucked. And a 400, whatever their entry level 400 watt amp is.
The JX or whatever.
Sure. Dude, it's an F-150. It's a pickup truck. There's plenty of places to mount this amplifier. You do not have to screw the amplifier to the rear wall of the pickup truck.
Oh, no. Through the plastic paneling?
No, through the aluminum.
No, like, so you could see the screws on the backside, like.
Oh no, they didn't go all the way through the bed. But if you're up down looking, you could, the drywall screws that are this long, and they just screwed it right through the interior of the car. I'm like,
oh wow.
Why would anybody do this? It's 2020, for God's sakes.
Was it a shop? Was it a shop?
Oh yeah, it was totally a shop. Totally in a JL shop at that, which means you're premium. Here's another stupid thing. The amplifier has high level built into it with auto turn on through DC offset, which that Ford radio has. No, we didn't use that. No, what did we do? We ran a freaking pack LC3 or LC3, whatever the little, not the cheapest pack, high level to low level adapter they make, the 3, because they have a 3, 5, and 7. Yeah. That, and they T-tapped it in. Which Ford, it's like, what the fuck? And then they lost his fuse box cover because they ran a wire into it for the remote turn on and didn't bother to put it back on. So I'm sure they just threw that away, which sucks if you own a Ford because they're numbered and you have to. It's like, all right, what fuse is this one, which is 30? Then you open the book and you go and you find so it's like, now that guy's screwed if he ever has to replace a fuse. I'm like, oh my God, what the hell? It's just a sub amp, guys. It's like, this is the easiest thing in the world. And then sanded the aluminum down, put a 2 drywall screws ring terminal in there, and I'm like,
man, I can't believe we're still dealing with this in 2020. This sounds like a 1990 problem.
Well, dude, we're still our Amp Pro has been out for 4 years now.
Yeah,
Amp Pros have been out for 4 years. AR has been out for 3. The Nav TV Zen, I think, has been out for 3. So these are all devices that literally will take your factory radio and give you a preamp section, a real preamp section. And there's still people that don't understand that, and they want to buy an LC7i, which is a great product for doing what it's designed to do.
Yeah.
But it is not. That's another one where it should be overrated, underrated. It's just, it is not the end all be all for every problem there is. It's like, I bought an LC7i. Great. You have 10 channels of audio you need to find somewhere to go.
Yeah, you didn't do no research. Bobby's on you, man. You can't slip nothing past Bobby.
I love Bobby.
No, Bobby's good.
Bobby's good people.
Oh man. So yeah.
Stupid shit.
We're still doing this in 2020.
Oh yeah.
I'm glad I don't have to deal with it.
Yeah, but hey, that's the thing. Like we talked about. I mean, it's one of those things that this circle of life is never going to stop.
Yeah.
I mean, even like, the Clean Wire Club, we're having a fun time with that. Like, it's like 25,000 subscribers on the Clean Wire Club now. So like on the back end side, like the industry guys are getting frustrated because they can't like rag on people because it's like, I don't tolerate that shit. That's like, look, this is supposed to be a fun place where everyone can have a good time. And these guys want to, it's like, okay, so you're trying to tell me as a professional installer, you popped out of your mom's vagina and you were freaking Mr. Installer.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I walked out with some crimpers and a Makita. I'm ready to do this, bro. No, man. Every installer started out as a hobbyist at some point in his career. All right. That's how every one of these guys got a job. And for some reason, they never remember that, or they're just so like, oh, it's like, what? Are you idiots? I mean, come on. We all started out as hobbyists, and then we became professionals. There's still guys out there that are hobbyists. You know why they're hobbyists? Because they're making way more money than we are doing this shit. So there's no reason for them to make this a living. They're like, I could do this and make way more money. I'm going to make this a hobby of mine because I get paid over here. Y'all over there, you can have the KFC. I'm going to go get the real chicken. I'm going to me some Kenny Rogers.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I've actually got a quick story before we finish out.
Go ahead.
So I'm wiring up the Trooper. I'm running all my wires, and I run out of zip ties. I'm like, dude, I didn't run out of zip ties. I ran out of black zip ties. So I was like, I'm not going to mix the white ones in. I'm going to go to the dollar store. It's the closest thing, so I don't have to go to Walmart or go to the auto parts store. I get in there. They have the cheapest, thinnest zip ties I've ever seen in my life. Man, you can almost pull the things apart.
Oh, yeah.
So I bought them, and I was like, now I got to go to the auto parts store. Yeah. So don't ever buy dollar store zip ties.
No.
Lesson learned.
No, there was a kit that Paul used to buy that came with those. And I remember I needed to use them in a pinch, and I went zip, and the head popped right off, and I was like,
yeah. You could, I don't know what kind of plastic they're made out of, but those aren't zip ties.
Invisible.
Tony made me think of it there.
Yeah. Whatever.
All right, what you got coming? Well, we got Kick Around Mass
tomorrow. I was going to say, we both got tomorrow. So that's going to be 6 o'clock Eastern, our time. What time zone are you in?
5 o'clock. The best.
So the best.
The best time zone. This ass kicker.
Yeah, whatever.
It's literally central.
Yeah. That's the one they always leave off. It's either Pacific or Eastern. You guys in the middle, we don't give a shit.
Yeah.
So Eastern time, 6 o'clock, Central time, 5, and 3 and 4 over there on the other side of the world. Make sure you check it out. It's going to be like 2 hours and 15 minutes long.
Before we even talk.
So we won't be going on until probably 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yay! But make sure you're all there. We're going to be Instagramming it up. So if you don't follow us, make sure you follow us at 5-Star Car Stereo. The number 5-Star Car Stereo. We're going to be during the breaks when they're not doing anything relevant. And there'll be moments like that that we'll be on, and we'll be talking about what's going on. And so here's the deal. There's a big giveaway at the end. There's giveaways throughout the whole thing, but there's a monster giveaway at the end. And they're going to give you 10 keywords, and you have to write down the 10 keywords so that you're going to need to know those 10 keywords to register to win for the final prize. And every single person in this list here wants that final prize. You want any of the prizes they're giving, let's be honest. You want
I wanted them. The Kip said we can't get them.
So. I don't care.
Like, come on, Kip.
I'm fine. Really? I mean, anyways, I got enough on my plate. So that's the key. You have to know those 10 keywords. They're simple words. They're gonna tell you. Bill Brown is gonna probably type them out a dozen times in the show. You can go to Kicker's YouTube channel. You can go to Kicker's Facebook channel. It really doesn't matter. Go to one of them. Sit through it. Fernando and I are gonna order like a pizza or something. Chill back and watch it again for the third time.
Oh.
Yeah, because we watched it twice today, and then we're gonna watch. Because I knew there'd be questions. So I wanted to make sure I could answer those questions. Knowledge Fest this year has been canceled. There is no Knowledge Fest this year. It's totally been gone. They just announced last week they're going to cancel it. But that's so tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock, we got the news. And then tomorrow at 6, that starts. And then we'll probably go on at 8, all of us. And the list just keeps getting bigger and better. So it's you, it's me, it's Fernando, it's Big D, it's EXO. Some other guys. I have no. It's like every 5 minutes, Kip is like, "Oh, and this guy's coming." I'm like,
"Yeah,
whatever."
Yeah, man.
Yay, woo!
Let's party. Make it a party.
Yeah. So we're gonna get some pizza. We're gonna chill there. We're probably working on a car or something like that. We haven't decided because I mean we're whatever. We got 2 hours. It's not like we're gonna sit through that again. And then Saturday, of course, is the normal show, and then my week goes back to normal. Super excited. What about you?
Yeah, man, I'm going to be chatting tomorrow during the stream. So I'll be there. I'll be watching it, kind of messing around like you. We'll be doing that. And then I've got part 2 of the shootout coming up next week.
There you go.
Outside of that, man, we're chilling.
Thanks so much, guys, for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Same bat channel.
Same bat.